Let's pay homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Tsung, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Tupten Dorje. Homage to the rituals of the altar, and homage to the main deity of Homa today, Padma Kumara. Simu, Tuten Siti Rinpoche, all Dharma Masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, temple directors, and all disciples, and all disciples over the webcast, and our VIPs today, the Chief Secretary of the Taiwan government, Mr. Tseng Pei-Fu and Mrs. Tseng, and the academician from the Academia Sinica, Professor Zhu Si-yi and Mrs. Zhu, and the representative to the council person from Tainan City, and the Trivida School Scholars Group, and the medical group, and the law advisors to Trivida Foundation, Dharma Sister Jennifer, and Dharma Brother Zhou Zhongsen, and Hong Kong TUV North Taiwan branch, the senior advisor, Mr. Cui. And from Hong Kong, the Sanghui Sangbiao Company, the General Manager, Miss Lai, General Manager of Jingyi Enterprise, Miss Zhang Yizhen, and from the Foundation Lai Su Wang, CEO, Mr. Li, a sand sculptor, Master Wang, and from the China Taoist Association, the director of the Yunlin, Mr. Hong, and then from Jiayi, Mr. He, and Dr. Zhou Heng. Mr. and Mrs. Zhu Jinshui. And Malaysian Datuk Mr. Kenneth Loy and Datin, Miss Li Qing and their daughter Li Qian. And from Indonesia, the Toyota dealership general manager, Mr. and Mrs. Ge. From Hangzhou, the Fire Prevention Materials Company, the President, Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, and the President of the Worldwide Lotus Light Charity Society, Master Chang Ren, and the Director of the Taiwan Lotus Light Charity Society, Mr. Li Chunyao. Producers for the Geni Diansang Shinton of CTITV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi, producers for the Great Perfection Dharma Hevajra Exposition and the development stages of Tantayana, Master Lian Yue.
My sister Lu Shengmei Nisi,
Miss Lu Shengmei,
Lu Guoying Nisi, and her husband,
and Miss Lu Guoying,
李和同先生。
and her husband, Mr. Li Hetong.
这里要感谢延明雷藏寺打斋10万年。
And thank you to Yuanmin Lezang Temple from Australia for their donation of 100,000 NT dollars. And from the Malaysia Wansong Transportation Company for their donation of 100,000 NT dollars. And Yongxuan Steakhouse for their donation of 100,000 NT dollars. Good afternoon, everybody. How do you do?
Good afternoon. And que no mucho.
All the greetings in different languages. Good afternoon, everybody. And today we had the Padma Kumara Homa, and I myself had this thing that at Tribhuda School we had a lot of hokey pokey, and some people had some opinions, so we would like to ask Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi to say a few words.
I haven't talked for long on the stage, and before I came here, I hugged Mr. Children. He's the leader of the Southern Taiwan Lotus Light Charitable Association in Southern Taiwan, and I was so sad. So I begged Grandmaster to give me a chance to talk here. In the past, I admired one of our masters in Tribhuda school. She's really good at speaking and helping people and telling us he has great lineage power and he's a very strong background. But we didn't really go to confirm with Grandmaster Shimu. Then I produced a TV program, The Legend of Purple Lotus. And all the contents in that TV program, here I like to express myself that lots of contents in that program is not really true. I'm a producer. So lots of facts are created by designing. So I didn't really check if they are true or not. So afterwards, after so many things happen, then I confirm with Grandmaster they are not really true. No, it's really affects a lot of people, and she declared that she got psychic ability. And she encourages people to believe or to believe in those ghosts. So many disciples in the whole world really believe her and also believed in those ghosts. Then when people who do not have good luck and they didn't have protection of themselves or recite the mantra, then bad things like accidents or things about me happened. For example, Master Lian Shi in Foling chapter. Okay, the leader is Ji Shanchuan, and also Wu Maocai before him. So 4 people, they have a mental illness. And also my good friend last year, one of my best friends, Miss Xu Ruiguang, got hurt in a car accident. She really believed in her. And one of my good friends in Hong Kong, she had an accident and died. And that Dharma sister believed in her as well. So here I want to tell everybody at this stage, no matter how you appreciate or admire this master or this person, please listen to me that we only have a one living spirit. That's why you know the living spirit are master and master. In the past, I supported them and praised them, and I supported them and then misunderstood Shimu. So because all of the in the past, I told Grandmaster myself that this master delivered many sending beings, and why can't we help this group grow? And Grandmaster says, and did I ever build a White Lotus Association? So in True Buddha school, all the Padma they have no difference. No matter what colors you are, we are all Padmamaras. Grandmaster used to tell this master that you may compose any association, but you don't really need to use the name of a purple lotus. But this master doesn't really listen to our grandmaster. So if you do not listen to grandmaster, then you are not a disciple of a true Buddha school. So you're welcome to tell others what I said today. And the legend of a purple lotus I produced before, and any TV programs about her, or the books published about her. Here I claim that it's my misunderstood. It's my mistakes. And it already affects people, and people passed away. So just recite the mantra about Rudu Guru and do the Dharma protection, and recite the mantra of Mahabala. Thank you.
We are really grateful to Dharma Sister Rebecca. So today, because we had the Padma Kumara Homa, so Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi told me that she wanted to say something. That's her own opinion. True Buddha school is not a monopoly. There are different masters and reference who are teaching Buddha Dharma, and there are many different colors of Padma Kumara that would eventually return to the Maha Twin Lotus Ponds. And Grandmaster is not the only Padma Kumara. There are many uncountable Padma Kumaras. Even from the Tang dynasty, there was this lullaby or this song. The lotus youth meets the golden immortals, and the flowers are showering left and right, and the celestial sound is resounding, and the ultimate bliss is above all the heavens. So Padma Kumara's Maha Twin Lotus Ponds is a place that I have personally visited. And with my own eyes, I saw Padma Kumara who radiated bright lights. That's why I found it through the school.
那今天这个纷纷扰扰，这个
So today we had a lot of unrest and turmoils about Padma Kumaras, and someone said on the internet,
实在是很不好意思
I'm really too embarrassed to repeat it here,
大战白莲花童子，
that the purple Padma Kumara is battling the white Padma Kumara. Oh my God.
真的很刺伤人，这是非常刺伤。
That's very hurting.
这句话听了非常的难过。
When I heard this, I felt terribly upset. The Padma Kumara on the frescoes in the Donghuang grottos have no battles whatsoever. Every Padma Kumara is at the Mahatwin lotus ponds. There are no differentiations between them. Over there, the hearts of each Padma Kumara are the same and interconnected. What is the ultimate bliss, the utmost bliss? It means that when there is a Padma Kumara that's very happy, all Padma Kumaras will be happy too. 10 years ago, there was a Dharma sister that was called Chen Su-quan that went to San Francisco to attend a ceremony there and listened to the master talking. And she asked, do you want to go to the Mahatwin lotus ponds of the white Padma Kumara or the Mahatwin lotus ponds of the purple Padma Kumara? That Dharma sister Chen Su-quan lived in Taipei, and after she heard that, she said that I will never come back to that place because who would arrive at the Mahatwin lotus ponds and see Padma Kumara? Who was that first saw Padma Kumara at the Mahatwin lotus ponds? At that time, nobody else was talking about Padma Kumara. When I was in Vancouver, I saw a person that was a purple Padma Kumara, and her name was Se Miao Zi. Se. The character Se and Miao, like wonderful, and Zi is like a branch of the tree. Her name is Dharma sister Se Miao Zi, and she loves to wear purple. And one day she visited the Seattle temple. And I spoke to Se Miao Zi. The lady that's wearing purple, the purple Padma Kumara, please stand up. And Se Miao Zi was wearing purple on that day too. Just when she was about to stand up, someone else stood up first. And she was wearing blue. She wasn't wearing purple. She was wearing blue.
那舍妙之一看，人家已
And
经站
when
起来，
Se Miaozi noticed somebody else was standing up, she didn't stand up.
这个就是一个缘起。
So that's the
在场的
start
人
of this
有这
affinity.
个那个明仪法师，
And
明仪法师在场，
people who were present then was the Reverend Ming Yi
看到这个状况，有几个老弟子都看到，
and there were a number of the old disciples were
明仪法师
present
在
then.
西雅图，
And Reverend Ming Yi now is still in Seattle.
很多的人可以见证到站起来的，
So many people
那
noticed
舍妙之不敢
or
站起
were
来，
witness to that event,
因为人家先站起来，
that person who stood up.
他怎么好意思
And
站起
Se
来？
Miaozi didn't stand up because she was not sure what's going on because somebody else already stood up.
刚刚 PRC 世界奖
So that's what
是莲花传奇，
Dharma Sister Rebecca Xuyaqi has said about the first
但是师父
the first movie clip about the legend of the purple lotus. But for Grandmaster just goes with the flow. Since you stood up,
不是没有花钱，
you should just take responsibility for that
但是
action
呢
and just let you
不是一
be.
个众生
I knew,
随顺
but I did not forsake any single being, so I
在两
just
里
go with the flow. And I even praise you,
能够
wishing that you would return to the
释迦
right
牟尼
path,
佛从来只有
because
弘扬佛法，
Sakyamuni Buddha only propagate Buddha Dharma all his
没有
life.
弘扬无鬼，
He never propagate the ways
从来
of the
释迦
ghost.
牟尼佛的佛法是佛法，最高
That Sakyamuni Buddha's Buddha Dharma is the holy, sacred, and the ultimate teachings, the holy teachings. And the Buddha
鬼吗？
never taught us to raise ghosts,
要招鬼吗？
to
请把那个招请的簿子拿出来看，
invoke ghosts.
藏着招请的簿子拿出来看，
So
你明明招
why
请
don't you
就
check
叉叉符，
your practice procedures if you
日本
invoke
军人
that
日本兵
cha cha
3
fu?
个日本兵，2个台湾兵，
And 3 Japanese soldiers and 2 Taiwanese,
公然
the
招
5 heads of the ghost.
你有招请佛菩萨，但是你也招
You
请
invoke Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, but at the same time you also invoke these
知道吗？
heads of
全部
the 5 heads of the
跟
ghost.
事实的鬼，
And do you know that they were ghosts who committed suicide or
另外
killed
还有很多的
accidentally?
自杀鬼
And following the many more suicidal
所以招请
ghosts.
跟所有的
And
牌
because of your invocation
偷偷的安放
and
在
worship
世界上的寺堂会，
and quietly you place
所有
them
的堂，所有
at
的会，
many temples, chapters, and centers around the
回
world.
去自己的寺，
So please check at your own temples,
把那些
at
鬼
your
排成
chapters and centers, and to make sure that you find those tablets for the ghosts
开光
and
的
the spirits.
全部是鬼，
So any altars that was consecrated by her would
我那时候我
would
在
consist of ghosts.
请
Jiyo-san,
他来，
my
很热烈招
guru,
待。
went to the Seattle temple and we invited her there, and it was very hospitable. hospitable to her. And she was brought to the Miyi Leizang Temple in Houston, Texas. And because she had the psychic eyes, as soon as she entered into the Miyi Temple in Houston, she said, "How come there are only ghosts here?" And the ghost came to this Guru Lin Qiantai and spoke Japanese because she could understand Japanese. Not just a little bit, but a lot of it, very fluently. So they spoke Japanese, and she spoke Japanese to the ghost. How come we have Japanese ghosts in Texas? In Texas, in Houston, there were Japanese ghosts because they were invoked there. And Jio-san asked, "Was this shrine consecrated by Grandmaster Lu?" And the ghost replied, "No. It was consecrated by that Master X." So today, Grandmaster apologized to everybody very deeply. I try my best to settle the unrest in Tripura School. That in the future, everybody walks their own path and cultivate their own spiritualities. I know for sure that she has power and she is very eloquent, and she could talk a lot about karma, about the past, present, and future lives. And she had told a lot of stories about that, to check on your past lives and future lives. She was very eloquent. And Oh Hao Nian, a Taiwanese painter, famous painter, spoke that your Dharma teaching, spoke to Grandmaster Lu, was way below somebody else's, that person. That Grandmaster was only speaking truthfully, but the other person was bragging, very glib. That in the future I may write a book about the event, not to be taken personally. I'm not talking about the problems of a particular person, but the issues about the problematic issues. Actually, she looks very nice too. And she can sound very compassionate. And the Dharma teaching sounds rational, but it has hidden meanings. And she has some psychic abilities. So some paranormal abilities. However, it's not the realms of the Buddhas, nor the realms of the Bodhisattvas, not the realms of the Arhats, and not the realms of the Sravakas, and also not the realms of the heavenly beings. But she's in the realm of the ghost. And because we have the Homa of Padma Kumara today, it is time to talk about another legendary person. Actually, Padma Kumara inside the Donghuang grottos, the cave 314 was called the grotto of Padma Kumara. 314. And each of the grottos in Donghuang, when you visit the grottos there and you ask where is Padma Kumara, and the guide will tell you that there would be Padma Kumaras in each of the caves in Donghuang. And they always look very happy. They have pleasant and happy facial expressions. And Grandmaster too is always very joyous amidst the joy, even when we encounter such an turmoil. I just treat it like a soap opera. Of course, there would be the conflicts and conflicts and interesting plots. The battles, the huge battle between the Buddhas and the ghosts to attract more audience and more followers. And Grandmaster will also teach all of you how to protect yourself. You need to prevent and protect yourself and make sure that you're not like Dharma Sister Sophia Su from Seattle, that the ghost told her to die, and she did. And a few others too who committed suicide. Not few of them, quite a number of them. And a number of them who died of accidentally death. Like Dharma Sister Rebecca said, 4 leaders of the 4 Ling spiritual centers. One was sick for quite a while, but the other 3 died suddenly. And she knew herself that there was 1 year that in 1 year 4 people died in her own family, and including her mother, who was elderly, and the other 3 were young. So these 4 people were her own relatives. So please be introspective. Think about it. Then you would know. Please recall. So the Padma Kumara verse, Padma Kumara meeting the golden immortals and showering flowers in emptiness left and right, listening to the celestial sounds resounding, and the utmost bliss is above the heavens. And each and every Buddha disciple would go to the Maha Twin Lotus Ponds, and under the care of Amitabha Buddha, we will be embraced by auspiciousness and our wishes fulfilled and very happy. So today, let me continue to talk about Lamdre. So Buddha Dharma is divided into the broad, middling, and the essential parts. And the broad path is for the best disciples with the higher spiritual levels. And the middle path is for those with the middling spiritual level. And then those with low spiritual level should practice the shallow or the essential path. So I used an analogy in the past that the Mahaprajnaparamita Sutra is the broad, and the Diamond Sutra is the middling, and the essential is the Heart Sutra. So here it talks about the broad, middling, and the essential path. So following the broad path are the middling and the narrow or essential paths. And in reality, they are also relying on the broad path. And the middling path is primarily the shortened version of the broad path. It has no particular contents on itself. And the essential path contains a few quintessential words, like the Heart Sutra is quintessence, and that's the essential path. And the middling path is the Diamond Sutra. Diamond Sutra is the middling path. And what is the broad path? Is the Mahaprajnaparamita Sutra, or the Sutra on the Great Wisdom. There's a lot of content in it. And when it is summarized, that's the middling. And when it's shortened to become just a piece of paper, that's the essential path. But the middling and the essential path also come from the broad path. So it's just being shortened. So it's written very clearly here. So the middling path is the summarized version of the broad path. Has no particular contents on itself, and the essential path has a few quintessential contents. So the middling path is so the middling and the essential path comes from the broad path. So the obstructions that we talk about is the obstructions of Padma Kumara.
就是这样子分的。
So this is how you divide it.
这个道果他讲的定，我谈过。
So meditation, we talk about
在
that
这个西雅图雷藏寺跟禅
at the Seattle Lizang Temple. I've talked about that,
我也谈过。
and I've also talked about the
那么功德
cause
你必须要去修
and the
资
merits.
粮道功德。
That's the path of accumulating merits.
就是佛的功德。
So if you reach
菩萨就是菩
the
萨的
Buddhas, then that's the merits of the Buddhas or the merits of the Bodhisattvas.
戒有三，欲界
And the realms, there are three.
无色界，
So the realm of desire, the realm of forms, and the realm of no forms.
这个分别还有种种。
And there are all different others of differentiations of realms. Nalia.
讲一个笑话，大家刚刚讲的太严肃。
So let me share a joke because it was too serious earlier.
大家笑笑就好，不用太严肃。
Actually, don't be so serious. Just take it easy, even about these things.
智慧的眼去分辨就可以了。
As long as you have the wisdom eye to discern, that's good enough.
公园里面的长椅上独自在那边哭啊。
An elderly man was sitting by himself in the park and crying very sadly, and a passerby asked, "What happened?" And the man said, "I have lots of money and real estate properties and a young wife waiting for me." And the passerby asked, "So you have such a beautiful life, why do you cry?" And the old man said, "But I forgot where my home is."
这是失忆症。
That's an amnesia.
这是属于失忆症。跟大家讲，这个失忆症是有的。
So, memory loss does exist.
更好是
Even Grandmaster too sometimes.
怎么回事？
There's this
一个
joke
老人
that's very funny.
他年轻的女朋友
A really old man was
去台湾
driving a young, beautiful girlfriend
开车
to a very famous motel,
摩天
bringing this beautiful young girl, lady.
忘了说，
But
我来这里
getting there, he forgot, what are we doing here?
到摩铁来做什么？
To motel in Taiwan. What are we doing here? And he couldn't remember
就把那个小姐
after thinking about it for a while.
车子
And then he
再出
drove that young, beautiful lady out of the motel.
出到他的灵感，
And after driving, all of a sudden he thought of it. Oh, jeez.
然后忘掉到摩天要做什么。
He forgot what to do at the motel.
还有一个笑话，还有一个笑话。
That's another joke.
这个一对老夫妻在楼上看电视，
A couple of an elderly couple
下楼去，
were watching TVs upstairs, and the wife asked the husband, "Please go downstairs to the kitchen and bring me some ice cream,"
这个慧晶最喜欢的冰淇淋，
which is what Hui Jin loves best.
去弄一碗冰淇淋，
"Please
上面
get me a bowl of ice cream and add a few strawberries on it."
先生就下楼了。
So the husband went downstairs,
你要不
and
要
the wife
记
said,
下来啊？
"Oh, do you want to write it down?"
这个冰淇淋
And he said, "No need. Just an ice cream with strawberries, right?
就从楼
How
上
could I
就下
forget?" So he went downstairs to the kitchen,
乒铃哐啷，乒铃哐啷，
And bing, bing, bang, bang. After a while, he walked back upstairs and he was carrying a bowl of noodles and with a few eggs on top. And then the wife said, "Didn't I ask you not to put any eggs on it? I just want noodles and no eggs." So both of them forgot. I wish that all true Buddha disciples forget about our obstructions, about this obstruction now. Just forget them. And everybody just follow the spiritual cultivation methods and practice diligently. And in my book, actually, when I was at the Rainbow Temple and Seattle Temple, I already taught you how to recite the Mahabala mantras to block the ghost, how to form the mudras, and how to place Mahabala around your house. Then you will have a safe house. And you perform armor protection, then you would be safe too. And recite more Yida mantra, then you would be safe. And you recite the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra more, that it can transcend life and death and eliminate all kinds of harms and poisons. Then nobody can invade you. Most importantly, you have to have the right thought. And you take refuge single-mindedly in the lineage of Guru. Then you will not go wrong. Do you know Reverend Lian Jin, the elderly monk? Lian Jin. He was like the pioneer general, that he went to all the temples and chapters everywhere. And he would tell everybody, you don't have the chance to meet Grandmaster because he's very busy. So if you need any help, just find that Master X. He's been everywhere. But he looks very good and radiant, and he's not disturbed at all. That at every practice he would invoke the Tata Fu. And I was curious, but he was fine and well. So I consulted Golden Mother. How come the elderly monk Lian Jin, who followed that master for many years, he's still fine and well? And Golden Mother replied, because he recited the Ushina Vijaya mantra for millions of times. So if you recite mantras until millions and billions of times, then you're the indestructible Vajra, full of young energy. Then naturally you cannot be attached or invaded by the ghosts and spirits. That the evil spirits will not be able to get close to you. So if you have the right thought, then on your body you would have the Vajra sword that can be used to kill the Maras if the Maras attack you, or kill the ghosts if the ghosts invade you. So the precious Vajra sword will protect you. So it talks about the looks is that your nature is the Buddha's and your body is the indestructible Vajra. That in your heart you would have that Vajra sword and you would have the wisdom eye. So I hope that everyone's self-nature or Buddha nature would be bright and radiant and would appear. Remember the words of His Holiness 16 Karmapa. At the time of death, you need to remember that the radiance of the Buddha nature in your heart has to appear. Then you would be able to be reborn into the pure Buddha lands or attaining Buddhahood directly in this lifetime. And then you are single-minded in your refuge and you have the proper or the right thought. That in Tantrayana you definitely need lineage. When Guru Padmasambhava instructed me to find the lineage gurus in the human world in order to be called a tantric disciple. That's why I seek for my lineage in the human world. Without lineage, then that would not be called the Tantrayana. So what kind of a teaching would that be? I don't know. But I don't know what kind of religions without lineage. I don't know. And their motto that the purple light is brighter than the white light. Amitabha. As a lineage guru, only because you abandon the lineage that you can fight like that, that you can betray. So how is your nature body? Only when you have the right thought, then you would have the Vajra body. The Guru, Tsongkhapa, the Guru of Tsongkhapas is Zebu Tsongkanta. And the Guru of Atisha, Guru Atisha's Guru is Dharmakirti or Guru Sarlingpa. And Milarepa's Guru, does Milarepa has no gurus? Milarepa's Guru is Marpa. In each of the invocation prayer, first we pay homage to my lineage Guru Marpa. Milarepa never abandoned his lineage Guru. Was there a day when Milarepa abandoned his lineage Guru? Please. Do you know to form those mudras when you were born? Let me ask you, where did you learn to perform Homa? Where did you learn to chant the mantras? Where did you learn the visualization? In a Grandmaster's invocation prayer, did it include the XX Fu? This is very important. And this Cha Cha Fu is not just Huang Jingqian, Ling Yang Zhi, Xiaolin. Tu Pian Yilang, and Zhong Chun Yiwu. These are the names of the 5 heads of ghosts, not only drawn on papers, but you also make their statues and make offerings to them. So there were 5 statues for these 5 heads. You don't pray to Golden Mother, and instead you pray to the Cha Cha Fu, which is these 5 heads of ghosts. So is that right? Think about it. So among us, there are references from that place. Think about it. In Buddhism, are you taught to invoke this Cha Cha Fu? In Buddhism, is there a teaching to teach you to raise ghosts? Although you may benefit in the world, you will not be able to go to the Buddha lands. You can only stay in the realm of the ghost. Oh, God and earth. Let me share a joke. Not quite a joke. It's a truth. So, the emperor had a dream, and the mountains toppled, the water dried, and the flowers withered. But that's not good. The mountains topple, that means you have no more country, and the good life is not no more. And when the emperor heard that, was very upset. And when a wise person said, when heard about that, oh, when the mountains topple, that's good. That means that the world is evil and even and harmony. And when the water dries up, that means the real dragon would appear. And when the flowers wither, that means it's time to fruit, to bear fruit. And when the emperor heard that, he got well. So that's how we should think. That this is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not an obstruction. That she let two Buddha disciples unite together. So that we practice even more diligently. So that we recognize the truth even more.